welcome Lisbeth Fuisz from DC Lights Out.
Yeah.
And she's going to talk about tourism. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. I'll try not to repeat too much because we do in Lights Out DC similar to what Lights Out Baltimore does. We both collect the data of the birds that are injured and killed by blast, and we advocate with building managers. So I'll give you just a quick overview here. So this is a picture of our birds, I think in 2014. You can see all types of different birds. How does this work? So you can see, like, these are crows here. We find hawks. Here we have warblers, thrushes. You'll notice there's a scarlet tanager in there, some woodpeckers, all different types of sparrows. These three little guys up here are hummingbirds. I think there's even a pigeon here. So it's true that we're mostly finding migratory birds, but some local residents also get in trouble with blast. Collisions with buildings are the fourth largest cause of bird mortality after habitat destruction, domestic cats, and power lines. So as Lindsay was saying, up to a billion birds a year are killed in North America. And the reason, as Lindsay said, we go out in April and May and September through the beginning of November, because that's during migration. And you'll see from this, the amount of birds that are collected is lower in the spring than in the fall. Any guesses why we find more birds in the fall? Babies. Yes, right. All the juveniles, right, get in trouble. As Lindsay was saying, fatal light attraction is one of the problems. During the daytime, too, birds also have problems with glass. We have glass reflects. That's the mirror effect. I don't know if you noticed when you walked into the Patuxent Wildlife, you could see your reflection, right? So that glass is bad for birds because glass does not exist in nature, right? So they don't know it's there. And then there's a transparency problem. Again, they don't see it. They fly through it. That's a national warbler there. This is an example. This is Museum of Modern Art in Central Park. That's a problem. Here's an example of transparency. Apple in New York City, exactly. And it's, again, this was what Lindsay was talking about. This is at the memorial for the 9/11. You see all those little dots? Those are all birds, and they get trapped in the light and they fly until they're exhausted. And I had heard recently too, sometimes they come out of this situation and they fly in the wrong direction. So it's very disorienting. So which birds are affected? I think, Lindsay, we find the same, species of birds essentially. Common yellowthroats, ovenbirds, and white-throated sparrows are the three that we find most frequently. Our data, and I don't know if Lights Out Baltimore's data was used by Scott Loss and a group of fellow researchers, and these are the birds that they found are most susceptible to collisions with every type of building, residential, low-rise, and high-rise. Ruby-throated hummingbirds, brown creepers, ovenbirds, yellow-bellied sapsucker, gray catbird, and black and white warbler. So they're most susceptible. But then it's like the neotropical migrants, like the wood thrush, which is our state bird in DC. They are vulnerable at low and high-rise buildings. So this is in the cities. We find quite a few, unfortunately. And as Dan was explaining earlier, DC has their species of greatest conservation need, and we found 13 of these species doing our monitoring in downtown DC. American woodcock, brown creeper, brown thrasher, eastern towhee, so all different types of birds. Sora, I actually found the Sora. I didn't know what it was. It's so out of place because it's got long legs like a wading bird, and you're like, what is it doing in downtown DC? Unfortunately, it was dead as well. So we find a lot of birds that are in decline. just to give you some ideas of the types of buildings that we monitor in DC, this is our worst offender. This is federal, Thurgood Marshall Federal Judiciary Building. These are trees inside, and it used to be, and this is also one of our success stories, it used to be that all these were lights that were coming down on the trees. But you can see it's also highly reflective during the day. But they have been, the architect of the Capitol is in charge of this building, and they do now turn off the lights during migratory season. Not all of them, because they have security lights, but quite a few. This is the convention center where they had the nuclear summit last week. This is a very problematic structure here. It connects the two parts of the convention center. And birds, we found an indigo bunting there. Birds crash into that, and then they're in the street and they get run over. But they are now, this building is also cooperating, and they have turned down the lights in that covered space, and they are looking into applying some sort of treatment to the glass there.
They made it look like stained glass. Would that help? You know, like a mosaic of stained glass.
Yeah, I mean, like fritted glass. Like you'll see. So this is you'll see examples, yeah, of types of glass like that. You have to make the glass visible to the birds. This is that crosswalk, and there's a imprint of the bird that's collided right there with the window. So and here's an example of mirrored glass. This is the convention center's back here, so this is just a block away from the convention center. You see, it looks like sky even to the human eye. We find quite a few birds there. This is a yellow-billed cuckoo that we found there. And here we have a very recalcitrant building. They have not been very open to us, but recently Dan's group, the Department of Energy and Environment in DC, has joined our efforts, and this group has now agreed to meet with us. You can see it's very brightly lit during the day, during night, and then reflective during the day.
Where is that building?
This is near the Capitol. It's 300 New Jersey. Yes, sir.
Do you see differences in bird counts once you make these changes?
Yes. So for example, at the Thurgood Marshall building, the first building I showed you, when they agreed to turn off the lights, and again, there's still some lights on, but we saw a 2/3 reduction in the amount of birds we were finding. So it does make a difference. And so our monitoring process is similar to Lights Out Baltimore. We have two routes. One route's about 4.5 miles. One route's about 2.5 miles in downtown DC. So we're only monitoring a really small part of DC. We have a couple of volunteers here today. They go out. We go out at 5:30 in the morning. It's very active cleaning people in DC. They like to get out there and clean up everything. But we do it 7 days a week on these two routes. And just to add on to what you all are saying, here are some things that you can do during migration. You can eliminate decorative lighting, dark sky, the light pointing down, not light pointing up. Substitute task lighting for overheads. Red light is particularly problematic, so you can change like your exit signs to green or blue light. There's various things that you can do yourself and buildings can do. And here's the sort of rules that Liz is talking about. In order to make glass visible to birds, you can use lines, you can use fritting. I noticed if you're walking out, there's a room in the Patuxent where they put the strips, the bird tape down. So there are things you can do to make your own windows at home, as well as advocating for bird safe design. So thank you.